Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish.
And today we're going to be going into the weeds a little bit about, I like this, how the process of wisdom is created from belief, of course, and how ancient philosophers really, if you've ever read any of the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, if you've read any of that stuff, these guys were deep thinkers. They went into the weeds and they debated, and Socrates, of course, was the forerunner to the Stoics of that time. And we get the Socratic method from these guys of asking a lot of questions, and we do it in our own goofy way, but it's really is when we ask a lot of whys, we can get to the place of understanding what the real why is. So we got to get, if we are going to have this wisdom, if we're going to have this, because wisdom is what's going to be the rudder in our life. It's going to create the life that we want, because we're not going to be living life off of reaction. We're going to be living life according to reflection. And there's a big difference. And this is, what the philosophers did. They start with asking themselves questions. They start reflecting on their life. Now, I'm not saying to you, get in there and start tearing yourself apart and say, well, you did this. You were such a crappy mother. You were such a horrible partner. And, you deserve to get, and not on any of that. That's not reflection. That's just put down. That's just nonsense. But when we get to the place of understanding that we can reflect on our lives and look and say, is this what I want? That's a basic question, right? Is this what I want? Well, remember in Socrates, back to Socrates, what did he say? The unexamined life is not worth living. And that's what he's talking about. Because if we don't examine, then we don't have a time to correct. And if we don't have a time to correct, then guess what happens? Guess what happens if we don't have a time to correct? Then we just get what we get. And that's why shooting from the hip doesn't work. That's why not planning things out doesn't work. That's why not having a grip on what your time is about doesn't work. All of these things just add up and just put you in a place of just like frustration and just like, why is this happening in my life? Well, we got to start at the very beginning. So, and we also have to be looking that beliefs are decision makers for us. They really are. They become decision makers once we become schooled, though, because that's what always changes our mind. That's the chooser, right? That's how we make those choices, how we make those decisions is by our education. But we got to look at, what is that education? Does that mean that you got to have a PhD in order to move forward, or that you're going to just take any willy-nilly crazy, conspiracy theory thing that you read on the internet or somebody passes to you in an email or something? What qualifies as schooling? Well, you're the one who has to answer that. And that's where the wisdom comes. Always, follow the source, follow the money, and also follow the source. This is follow the source. Oh my God, Sarah, you're cracking me up. So I want you to get this too. I love this. Is that philosophy means the love of wisdom. Isn't that great? So we're all really, if we are truly chasing wisdom, then we are all lovers of philosophy, aren't we? That's right. That's because that's what it means. We want to love wisdom. So therefore we are all philosophers. So there you go. A little Socrates for you. How's that? Oh my goodness. So where do we go from this? What do we do with all of this? Well, I have a couple of ideas, some steps that I think we need to take so that we can go beyond just the processing of wisdom to actually become wise. Because It's created from educated beliefs, which then become our decisions in our lives. That's what it is. So let's start with number 1 is no more FOMO. Instead, we want FONT. You know what FONT is? I made this up, even on 2 hours of sleep. FONT is fear of not thinking. We have to stop with the not thinking. We have to think about our thinking and be okay with being a little reflective. That doesn't mean that we go to the place of not making decisions, because remember what I said long time ago? When you don't make a decision, you're still making a decision on default, and that still counts. You can't wiggle out of making a decision, even though a lot of people just don't make a decision. They say, well, it was out beyond my control. Baloney. You decided not to step up. Okay, that's number 1. So when we create space in our lives to reflect, we can stop the reaction and start the reflection instead. And that means everything. And then we can be thoughtful, thoroughly thoughtful about what our decisions are. And we can feel really good about them. And I'm going to talk about this too in how this really works for weight loss and fitness goals, because it's everything. I mean, it seriously is everything. Number 2 is quality over quantity. Now, I want you to notice how this whole thing works with a few reflections and adjustments. Like, let's do this with food. You've got real quality food versus just grazing endlessly, a bunch of crap and fast food and snacks and all of that. At the end of the day, 10,000 calories down, no nutrition, and you're still hungry, right? You're still hungry, right? So what do we want to do? If we notice, and I'm going to tell you right now, Sarah knows this. Sarah knows this because she's gotten such great results. Linda knows this. Noreen knows this. There's a whole bunch of you out there. Jocelyn knows this. You know that you eat less when you're eating quality food. You know why? Because here's the thing. You stop and you reflect. Am I hungry? That reflection tells you, are you going to eat or not? Not just out of habit, not just shoveling food in your mouth because it's fun and entertainment, but instead it's in accordance to what your body is telling you to do. That's reflection. And when we do that, we adjust our food intake. And because we also, not only are we going to eat when we're hungry, we're going to stop when we're satisfied, not full. Because full comes, that real after satisfaction, you get a little bit fuller because that's just how your body works. So if we stop at satisfied, we will be filled up and just fine in 10 minutes. That's how your body works. Isn't that cool to know? And then that way we avoid Thanksgiving full, because if we stop when we're full and then 10 minutes later we feel we're in agony, that's Thanksgiving full. We don't need to do that anymore because we're reflecting on all of this. We've got the quality over the quantity, and we are getting things done. We're moving the needle all kinds of ways because we're using our heads. We have our own philosophy now. This is how we do it. What a difference. And number 3 is the art of nuance. Now, hang with me on this one. We oftentimes have this all or nothing attitude. Well, if I don't stick with it 100%, I'm just going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We do that a lot. How many of you, pinkies up, there's my girl Jocelyn, pinkies up, have you been the woman who has ever just said, that's it? I messed up, I ate the Snickers bars, I did the drive-through or something, and just throw the whole thing out. Next time I'll try harder because I didn't do it perfectly. Well, if we understand that at any time we can jump in, at any time we can make a decision to say, that wasn't the right idea, that wasn't the good thing to do, we're accountable to it, we're writing about it in our journal, we're getting into the weeds about it, we're understanding the nuance of what it was that led us there, questioning ourselves, Socratic method, of why the heck we went there in the first place when we're trying to change this up. And if you say, well, it was old habit, or I was hungry, or gosh, it just smelled good, or whatever, fine. But at least get into it and figure that part out, because as you figure that part out, the rest starts to happen as well. So we get to do that. And this all or nothing, what is all or nothing? All or nothing is perfectionism. Full stop. It's perfectionism. And where is perfect? It is not on this side of glory. It is not. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to do that to yourself and go through this whole motion of, well, I'm going to just, I'll start Monday or I'll try again or whatever. It's, it's now. We're stop with the Mondays. Stop when the Oreos are gone, when the holidays are over. We start now. We start now because our lives are today, right? We don't say, I'm putting my life on pause and then I'm going to jump in. Then I'll jump in. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. So there is, unfortunately, with food, there's no gray. Your body's either going to say, yay, rejoice. Thank you for the information that you gave me because now I can optimally operate. Or it's going to say, hold the phone. I feel like crap. You want to see somebody? I have to show you. Okay, so I will get back to this, I promise you, but look at my puppy. Hello, Lincoln. Look, guys. This is Mr. Lincoln. Look. Okay, I see you. I see you, you sweet boy. Oh, he just woke up. Okay, yes, my ears are delicious. There they are. Can you see his pretty blue eyes? Okay, I know. Look at those pretty blue eyes. There he is. Okay, he's got to go. Bye-bye. Go potty. Or you did?
I took him out first thing and didn't quite make it to the bed.
Oh. Oh, anyway. Ha. Isn't he so cute? I know. He's 13 pounds of, he's going to be 65 pounds. All right. Want me to get back into it or can we just ooh and ah about my puppy? He's so cute. I've sworn off sugar, but he's so cute. He is, Sarah. He's absolutely adorable. He's smart and he knows to go outside, but he's still not quite making it sometimes. So that's cool. I mean, we've only had him here for like 24 hours. So anyway, yeah, that's Mark's birthday present, whether he likes it or not. But let's get back to this whole food thing. Food is black and white. However, most of life is not. There's lots of gray there and there's nuance there. And we need to look for the nuance. We have to look for, there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We have to look for things that are a little bit different. So we need to look at this and I think this is really important, that there is no there is no gray when it comes to food because our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God has a blueprint for all of us, right? And he says, this is going to feed you right down to your teensy tiny mitochondria that I designed just for you and for all of your cells. And this is going to cause inflammation. It's going to cause you pain in the long run. It's going to give you all kinds of garbage because food is information and tells your body what to do with it. Simple. I wish it was the answer to all of life's woes, but it unfortunately is not. Anyway, that's God's blueprint for us. And that's perfect. That's perfect because it came from him. And I love that because that's going to help us. So we need to remember that these things that we have, these little mouthpieces that we have, are for speaking the truth in love and for eating food that's going to fuel a vibrant body, period. Otherwise, if we're gossiping and being horrible and saying mean things about folks and eating all kinds of crap, then what's going to be up here? It's going to be all out of whack. I want you to see this because there's a definite connection here. When your mouth speaks beautiful words and is uplifting and encouraging to others and you're eating the right food, you're thinking the right stuff. If you're eating a bunch of crap and speaking and spewing, up here, it's just a black hole and negative. So the other thing, and this is the nuance part, when we are in the place of relationship, it isn't always black and white. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of give. There's a lot of take. There's a lot of things that we as women with these beautiful selves need to look at and need to honor. And that is being understanding, listening, truly listening, not just hearing and putting it off, but really listening, empathizing, repeating back, reflecting back to the person that we care about. And even when, God forbid, it's a different viewpoint. That doesn't mean that we need to suck up and say, oh, I'm just going to take in whatever you say because I don't have an opinion. It means that I'm going to give you the time of day because I love you and I care about you. And I'm able to do this without being, a complete jerk about it. Think about that. This is a higher level of living, and it's difficult. I wish I could give this lesson to all the cable news talking heads. They all need it because they're all jerks. No love there. Just I'm right and you're wrong. And that doesn't work. That doesn't promote love and harmony. Not at all. So great. The other thing I would just want to say to you is that this sharpens, clarifies, and allows for grace. That's what this does when we understand all of this. And grace, we know, is unmerited mercy, and it's also wisdom, and it's all wrapped in together. This is how it operates from this place of this gentle, kind, beautiful self that you own. It's your higher self, because when you ever do something and you're just going, oh yeah, I shouldn't have done that. You start kicking yourself around. Your higher self isn't doing that. Your higher self is saying, come over here, Leanne, come here. You're worth more than that. That's what your higher self says. Your higher self doesn't beat you up. Your higher self says, you are worth so much more than a fast food hamburger. You are filet mignon, honey. Paul Newman was once asked, did you have a hard time, not cheating on your wife? Joanne Woodward was his wife. And he said, why would I eat a hamburger when I've got filet mignon at home? That's a man who loved his wife. And that's the whole thing. We don't do hamburgers. We're filet mignon, folks. Got it? Number 4 is humble pie. And let me just say, we all need a slice of that humble pie. We all need to have a slice of that one pie. That's the only pie that I advocate for, by the way. Bertrand Russell said that the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and the wise are flipped out. And this is the truth. When cockiness is so off-putting and so, I don't like it. When you have people coming at you, and I know you do, we all do, and we see it on Facebook on repeat, we see these folks who are just so sure of themselves. They are law experts, they are medical experts, they are pandemic experts, they are nutrition experts, you name it. Not a single training, but they read somewhere. And that's that kind of thing that we're looking at. That is not humble. That isn't humble. That is saying that I know it all, and that's it. Know-it-alls don't get far. Those who eat from the table of humble pie do, because they're open to learning from others. Number 5 is there is a balance. We need ethics and pragmatism, because that's what equals wisdom, right? This is how we act with purpose. Act with purpose, because the ultimate alignment assignment is those two things together, and when we're in sync with our morals and apply them practically to help one another, wisdom reigns supreme. It does. We get to do things on a practical level that takes our morals with them, which shows us that what are we to do? What is our purpose? To help others. And suddenly, magically, and absolute uniquely yours is this. You get to figure out what your purpose is. Divinely inspired. Divinely inspired. So remember this, that beliefs become wisdom. And when we understand these philosophical points that I just went over, all 5 of those, when we understand those, we're living them. We can't help it, because that's what wisdom is. Remember what our friend Lisa says. When your clarity meets your conviction, you apply action to the equation and the world transforms before your eyes. That is wisdom right there in the making. Wisdom has action attached to it. It's not some philosopher with a long beard sitting on top of a mountain in a lotus position saying, oh, it's not. wisdom comes in the form of action toward others, a great generosity of heart, and also understanding the difference between gray and black and white, because there's shades of all of that. There is nuance in this whole entire world. Now, again, little caveat when I say that when we have food rules, for example, like never and always, and you know about those when we were talking about our food addiction webinar, right? That's a whole different situation. That's a different situation. It's dealing with something very specific. But in this place of nuance is how we live our lives with others. That's where the nuance is. Food's just food. We just need the food. Our bodies need the information. And that's how we leverage all of that. So as we put all of this together, I just want you to just take a look at this and to think about these things. And if you're a writer-downer of things, these 5 philosophical points, really, of beliefs and wisdom, to me, are just really set in my heart and really have been super helpful. So I hope that was helpful for you today, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did and you thought it had any kind of merit whatsoever, be my friend. Go ahead and share. I would appreciate it. We have a lot of people, new people, coming into our world, and we really super appreciate the fact that you are sharing. Sharing's caring. Be well. Peace be with you.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.